What's going on, YouTube? It is Wish here, and I'm starting a new series for Control. I think it's going to be really cool. So yeah, I just want to get into the video. In case you're watching the video and you're like, oh, well, who's Wish? And I don't know if I want to listen to what he has to say about Control. You can look up my stats on Destiny Tracker. It's Wishful Leaf, WISHFULLEAF 4173. Currently Platinum in Control for Season 4, and Season 3 I finished Control Diamond at 2214. So have a pretty good elo when it comes to Control, and yeah, I think there's a lot of people coming into Destiny 2 right now, and just want to share the knowledge and kind of share how I look at it, and hopefully help somebody out, you know. Hopefully they comment and share something with me, and I can take away some knowledge. So the first video I want to do is we're on the map Fortress right now. We're up in Castle, which is where the B flag is, and I think a lot of the videos are probably going to focus around the B flag because typically they're more in the middle of the map, and a lot of times in Control it comes down to you have to get a zone, you have to hold 2 zones, and a lot of times it's the B flag that you have to take, or it's the B flag that you have to defend because the other team's going for the B flag. So a lot of stuff happens right up in here in Castle. And there's 3 entry points for Castle. You have Shore coming from the A flag. You have a rock entrance, which is kind of in between the CA flag. It's more of a C option to come up, and then there's Dungeon, which is probably the most, this right here, the most used entry point into B, at least for me, because it's got really good cover, and it's a nice choke point to where you can hold off a lot of people. So we're just going to go over the defense peak shots for B coming from those 3 entry points. So starting off at Castle, defending an A push, let's say that your teammates have Castle door and Castle window on lock, either coming from tower, which is right there, or coming from shore, maybe using those rocks for cover. Right, this is nice. I don't recommend this as much, except for like a variant to peak shotting the window, because this covers a lot more of your body than just your head, and there's just a lot less that they can shoot at. So a lot of people come from here, a lot of them turn that corner right there. The A option is a low passage coming in from right here. They kind of have to come up through the middle, they're very exposed. And one thing you can do to combat that is just throw up a shield right here, and they can't get through. I mean, they can try and jump over that. It's going to be really tough. If they touch the shield, they sustain damage. It's about 90, so it's a decent amount. So if your friends have that, you can come around here to the side of Castle on the shore side, and you can peek shot this lane right here, which is kind of nice. Just a little option variant. So let's say that you're on the B zone. You've capped it. Your buddies go off to cap C, and you're left to hold B. Enemy team caps A, and they're going to coordinate a push up to B. Obviously, I'll start right here. Fire, fire. I'm watching on my radar. As soon as I see any red on the radar to my right, I know that they're coming up this passage. If I don't have a barricade, I might have to back up because I will be pinched. So let's say they're shooting, and someone's coming up passage. I'm going to immediately pull back to Dungeon. And I got a nice peak shot lane right here. Door. And what's nice about this peak lane is everything is funneled in to this one choke point. So if they come up passage, I have shots on them. If they come door, I have shots on them. You can actually jump through that window. Shots. If they come around the side, that option secondary option for the castle defense coming from A. They have to come around this side. So for instance, if they're pushing in from right here and they want to cap the zone, they have to come into your line of sight. So this is a really good spot. This is where you can do a lot with a little, especially if you're just one person with a high-powered scout or a bow, or let's say you have power weapon. The only thing you have to be careful of is the flank option for dungeon is coming up. So let's say the guy that was coming passage that was pushing you initially, he comes up, he sees your fire coming through there, he decides not to challenge, he comes around near rock, and boom, he's got the flank on you right here. So one thing you have to really be careful of when you're taking this is that right diagonal side of your radar. And if you see it come up, depending on where they're at, you might have to push back in and then go for a low passage route, or you might have to fight this guy off. This is another good place for Titans to set up barricades, because I'm going to tell you right now, this is the best place for it. Right there. Nobody's getting through without being damaged, and you got some options. They're probably, it's a pretty long lane right there. Any shotgunners are going to have a lot of trouble. Anybody trying to shoulder charge you, a lot of trouble. And that guy that was pushing you, well, he's got to deal with this now. If you have a shotgun, you can pull it out, you can challenge, and then you can make your escape and regroup with your teammates, hopefully at cap C. Come back up for a push for A. Push for B, sorry. So those are kind of the peak shot spots, and just kind of a basic strategy for defending B, especially if you're by yourself or facing multiple opponents. The other one I want to look at is actually the opposite. It's a B defense, and you've either capped A or are capping it. The enemy team is capping C, which is down in Falls, and now they are going to make a B push, and they're going to go for that secondary zone. So just to kind of give you a look at what the routes look like from C, I'm sorry. To cap C, you got two options. You can come up Falls, or you can come this middle grotto into rocks up into B to challenge, right? The only problem with grotto to rocks is this is the middle of the map. So it's high traffic, and if you get stuck with any type of resistance coming up rocks, so let's say you're going to challenge B from grotto, you're coming up rocks, now you're peak shotting these steps and using rock, right? Anybody over there with a sniper, anybody with a scout, you're just easy pickings. So unless you know that this lane is clear, or you're doing a flank where you know you're going to move into B really quickly, I don't typically recommend using rocks as the bread and butter of your C to B push. Like I said, it's effective in certain scenarios, but what I really recommend is Falls. Coming up Falls, and then from Falls door into the big castle arch, you've got a nice lane right here to where you can shoot. There's typically a guy going to be peak shotting right there. If they're capping the zone, you can put in some shots, you can throw a grenade. And then, this is something we already looked at, right? This dungeon peak shot. And you can challenge anybody, you can throw a grenade, you can do a lot of stuff. So, those are kind of your options with a CB push. And looking at it from the opposite side, if you're defending, there's two places that I'll typically defend B with for the C push, and it's this lane right here. Next to I got my low passage right behind me, and I'm just going to peak shot this right here, because anybody coming is going to pass that line of sight, and I'll see them either run past, I know they're going to dungeon, or they're going to come through and challenge, and they're going to push up to this rock, and they're going to start working on B from this spot right here. And it's just a nice option, because one, I get all the action, I see everybody coming in. Even if they come from a grotto rocks push, you know, I've got a nice easy little transition to, oh hey, you have no cover, and I'm gonna put in shots, right? If things start getting hairy, let's say you see one run across, you know that they're going to dungeon, another one's challenging, pushing up to rock. Okay, at this point, this is a losing situation, especially if you're by yourself. It's a 2v1, and you are going to be taking fire from 2 sides. One of them's going to be coming from here, and then in a second, one of them's going to be coming from there, and you don't really have a lot of cover. Couple options you can do this. You can use this pillar to try and fight off both. Maybe put a grenade in there or there and then put in shots, but ultimately you're gonna get pushed off, and you've got a nice little escape right here. You can slide into a low passage and hit tower, and then hopefully at that point, you know, you can make a B push. Let's say you hold the zone. Let's say you have captured the zone, they start to cap it, your buddies realize it, they start coming over from A, and then you can coordinate a push up into B. So that's a lot of my preferred peak shots for defending B. Looking at it from the opposite side, let's say we have A. Here's a scenario, we have A, alright, and we've captured it. The enemy team has C, that's their spawn over there. They're going to be spawning falls, and we're going to make a B push. So we got a couple options. One, I don't run through here. This is that middle zone I was talking about. This is, unless you know what you're doing, unless you're doing something really specific with your flank, or you kind of know where all the enemy team is, and you can make a really nice push into tower or low passages right there. It's a lot of open space with not a lot of cover, and unless you know where they are, it can get hairy really quickly. So I typically avoid coming out of A into crash, which is the middle of the map right here, and rocks, right? Rocks going in up into B. I'll take an outside lane instead, this door right here, and from here you've got some options. One, if they're defending low passage, they've got somebody peek shotting in there, you can put in shots, right? And you've got cover, you can slide up on this guy and defend that middle, which is what I was talking about. That right there, people get caught up there all the time. If you got a scout or something that's long range or a bow, you can put in shots, you might be able to get a couple picks. Get the guys off of that B defense and spawning back over by falls to help your team with the B push. And then, so this is the commitment part. When you come around this side, your only cover is right there and rock right there. And as I've kind of gone over, they're either going to be in door. You're covered from that option, castle option right over there that I showed you guys, which is why I don't use it as much. You actually can't get a shot, a really good peek on this spot right here, which is a little bit more effective. You kind of have to be careful of that, but I mean, it's an exposed position. It is kind of what it is. And ultimately what you want to be doing is working up to this rock right here, and that's when you have to worry about that option and window, right? But ultimately you're trying to work up to where one of your buddies is pushing through the door and the other one is coming through this this side castle option. Boom, right? Okay, let's go over a scenario. Here's the scenario. You're in tower, you're going for the B, same scenario where you're going for B. Your buddy's at rock, they're peek shotting, there's one at the door and there's one at the window. You manage to take down the guy at the door, and the one at the window is critical. He backs off to get his health back, and your buddy pushes door. Don't go through door behind him, because what's going to happen is, one, that guy that backed off is going to have a close range weapon. He's probably going to have a shotgun or a sidearm, probably a grenade cooldown. Two, there's going to be somebody back in that dungeon hall putting shots through this doorway, and I mean, you guys are just going to get torn apart. So let him push through door, and then you're going to push around this side castle option. And basically what you're looking for is this lane right here. As soon as you make B, if you don't see anybody, you're on this right here, because this is where their help's going to come from. Zoom out to check the map to make sure they're not coming through dungeon. But I'm telling you right now, 80% of the reinforcements for B, if you clear out the B, are gonna come right here. So let's say your buddy comes through the door right here. We're working with the same scenario. I'll set it up again. You're putting shots on the door, you kill this guy. Guy in the window is critical, he backs off, your buddy pushes door, and let's just say good thing happens, your buddy pushing door manages to clean up that guy. They were the only two on the zone, and boom, I'm right here. I'm gonna let my buddy come up, and he is going to take B. If you're the one on B, you're right here, and you're watching dungeon. And if you're the one that took the side castle option, you're right here. And this is where 80% of the reinforcements is going to come, because it's the fastest route, and they're really going to want to stop that cap. Coming around dungeon is adding about 2 or 3 seconds, and 2 or 3 seconds, that's a cap. Like that's you getting double the amount for your kills. So they're going to come through there, and you're going to be ready, and you're just going to put in shots, right? And that's it. So yeah, those are my peak shots for castle. That's kind of how I would approach it in a lot of ways. I hope the video was helpful for you guys. I'm gonna do some more videos, hopefully get more in depth, collaborate with some of my friends who like to play Control with me, and I will see you guys in the next video.